I was preparing the dars, and he says, yes, good boy, good job done. Well, what did you do next? He said, when I heard your steps in the sahan and saw you from the window, I came down and I decided to follow you because I was very curious. I thought I would learn from you, and I thought that exercise of mine would be extremely useful to me for my hereafter. Because for anybody who is coming to the haram at this time, he only comes for the matters of hereafter and not for the matters of this world. And so Muqaddas Ardabili says, very well, what else did you see? What did I do next? And he says, I saw you open the padlock only by pointing your finger at it. And I really want to know what you recited. How does that come about? Muqaddas Ardabili wouldn't tell him anything. He would say, what else did you see? Now Muqaddas Ardabili is in a searching exercise. Now he is becoming the investigating officer, taking a full statement. So, and Amir Alam was in no shape to lie. So he said everything. And Muqaddas Ardabili took him right through the whole story, and came to the conclusion that Amir Alam has seen everything. He has heard nothing, but he has seen everything. He has not seen those whom he was not permitted to see, but he has seen him do everything he did. And so he decides that he will tell the truth. He turns round to Amir Alam and says, as you have told me all the truth, I will also tell you the truth as you want me to. Because Amir Alam was begging him to tell him what was happening. He was saying, all this absolutely perplexes me. I am bewildered at your conduct at this kind of an hour, small hours of the morning. It's not even time for tahajjud. It's not way away from Fajr. So what are you doing here? What is all this going on about in such mystical and mysterious way? And so Muqaddas Ardabili says, Amir Alam, I will tell you everything. But when I have told you all this, you must promise me now that you will not say it to anybody so long as I am alive. When I'm gone, you can do what you like with that story. But so long as I am alive, you must not utter it to anybody, and anybody means anybody, whosoever it is, including your mother or your father, whosoever. But you will not say it to anybody. Amir Alam says, my word of honor, and I'll swear by Allah, that so long as you are alive, I will not tell anybody whatever that you tell me now. And he said, he was troubled by those questions. Therefore he decided to meet Hazrat Amir alayhi salam, went to the haram, and it dawned on him then that the door would be locked. So you can see how preoccupied he was with those questions, that it didn't even bother him as to what time it was and whether the haram would be opened or not. He was so preoccupied with those questions. He just moved out of his house to reach Hazrat Amir alayhi salam. But that spirit, and it is in us also, inshallah, that spirit that when you are desperate, you just rush out to the one who will help you, to the one in whom you're seeking refuge. And in these days, we seek refuge from the Imam alayhi salam, and we dash out to him and seek help from him. And indeed, repeatedly we have seen in volumes, An-Najm al-Thaqib is that thick, full of these narrations of how people were helped by the 12th Imam alayhi salam. There would be, because in a matter of 12 centuries, there must have been so many examples. Only some of them reach us. The large majority of these examples in which people meet the Imam alayhi salam don't even reach us. Look at what Muqaddas Ardabili did. He said, I'll tell you, but you must not report this. They somehow keep it confidential. Well, with Muqaddas Ardabili it is understandable, because he did not want his fame to increase with this sort of knowledge. And he thought it would affect his taqwa, his piety. However, he says to this boy that I just went to haram. When I went to haram and it dawned on me that the door would be locked, I said to myself, fine, I will speak to my Mawla from this doorstep. And it is enough. It is enough. If again you would pardon me for just 2 minutes, I will digress a little to tell you another similar version. Now, not of Hazrat Amir alayhi salam Indeed, not of one of the 14 Masoom, but of that beloved daughter of Imam Hazrat Amir alayhi salam, Bibi Zainab alayhi salam. I was in Damascus, and I met a group of Tulaba, the students in Damascus, who had just returned from Karbala. And it was difficult to get visas in those days. It was still days of Saddam. And they said they managed to get a visa from Amman and went to Karbala and had just been back. That was at Fajr. At Dhuhr, I meet one other of the group. So I said, did you go? Have you also been to Karbala? He says, yes. But do you want to know my story? I said, yes, of course. Who doesn't want to know about it? I said, yes, of course, tell me. And this is a person I knew for a while, and I knew his master also, from whom he was taking dars. So he had some respect for me to tell me this. He said, it was an absolute miracle that I went to Karbala. When the Imam alayhi salam calls you, nothing can stop you, Saddam or no Saddam. You go there and you come back as I have done. I said, but tell me the details. How did you succeed in doing this? And he says, I was away. I come back to Damascus at night, at about 10 o'clock. And Haram of Damascus, as you know, is closed before 10 o'clock. By 9 o'clock, they close the Haram in Damascus. And I meet my friends and I see them packing. I said, where are you going? So they said, well, we're going to Karbala. But how are you going to Karbala? I said, we just got news that our visas have been approved. So we're going to Amman at 2 o'clock in the morning. So he says, why 2 o'clock in the morning? So they said, but we've got to be at the embassy at 8 o'clock to get our visa. And we need time to travel between Damascus and Amman. So we're leaving at 2 o'clock. You want to come? Come along. So he says, but how do I come along? I don't have a visa. And there is no application for me. They say, well, what does it matter? What does it matter? These fellows could easily make a mistake. We will give all our passports. We'll put your passport in it. They will go through our applications. If you are lucky, if the Imam alayhi salam is pleased that you should go, they might even stamp your passport. And once your passport is stamped, nobody on the borders has the papers. They are at the embassy. You will go through. And he says, well, I'll try. But then it troubles him that will this really go through? Am I doing the right thing? He says, no. I will go to the sister of the Imam. She is close at range. And these tulabas, as you know, live around the haram. She is close at range. I can see her. And what does it matter if the haram is closed? So he says, I went into the haram, got into the sahan, got to the entrance, knocked the door. And I said, Bibi, I want to go to your brother. I want to go to Karbala. All my friends are going. Are you going to leave me alone in Damascus when all my friends are in Karbala? You see to it that when I go to Amman tomorrow, I get a visa. I kissed the door and left. And I went back and I said, I am also coming. I've already got my refuge with the Bibi Zainab alayhi salam, and I will go. The next day when all papers are submitted, he gets a visa in Amman and he also goes to Karbala. You can imagine how miraculously things happen. The doors don't have to be open. Shutting those doors on our faces means nothing to us, because the doors of the hearts are open. And this is how communication takes place. And just as such communication takes place with Bibi Zainab alayhi salam, and she is alive too, similarly takes place with the 12th Imam alayhi salam. And you can see Muqaddas Ardabili in his position is able to achieve all this. He then says to Amir Alam, he says, I went to Hazrat Amir alayhi salam. When the door, all I did, he said, is I looked at the padlock, because I'm really looking at the Imam alayhi salam, and I pointed my finger, not at the padlock as you think. I was pointing my finger at the zari, and all I said was, Assalamu alayka ya Amir al-Mu'mineen. And that is enough. That is indeed enough. Because if the reply comes, wa alayka salam, the gate opens. Then there is nothing to stop the door opening. And he said, I saw the padlock open. So I knew that I was welcome. And I entered. And when I entered, I spoke to the Imam alayhi salam, and I told him what my problems were. And he gave me, and the first time when you heard me speak, I was speaking. What you could not hear was that Hazrat Amir alayhi salam turned round to me and said, Ardabeli, why have you come to me? And I told him, you are Babul Madinatul Ilm. Who do I go to if I don't go to you? Because you are the very gateway to knowledge, as the Holy Prophet said. So he turns to me, he said, no, go to the Imam of your time. And when he said, go to the Imam of your time, I turned round to him and I said, but he is in Ghaibah. Where do I find him? Because I don't know where he is. And I got a reply from the Zari which says, if you don't know where he is, I'll tell you where he is. He is at this moment in that very mihrab in which I was murdered. Go there, you will find him. And I got out. Because I knew that Hazrat Amir alayhi salam did not want to give me the answers. Of course, there was nobody who knew the answers if Hazrat Amir alayhi salam did not know the answers. But he wanted to teach Ardabeli at that level of a person. He gets that training from Hazrat Amir alayhi salam that if you are in such troubles, go to the Imam of your time and you will get the answers. That was the guarantee, as it were, from that Zari in Najaf. Ardabeli says, I had all the strength therefore. I spiritually walked, and I walked up to, and Amir Alam says, yes, I saw you walking straight and steadily until you got there. And when I got there, lo and behold, my Mawla was in the mihrab, in the course of his prayers. So I sat behind him, waiting for him to complete his prayers. Once he performed his salam, I met him. I asked him my questions, and I got all the answers. And the answers I've got are so satisfactory that I have no doubt in my mind about them. All my problems are resolved. Those questions and answers, Amir Alam, I will not tell you now, because I'm going to reproduce them in the form of a book, and you will be able to read my book. And then I have come out to go home to recite my namaz Isha. So you can see the extent to which the Imam alayhi salam helps. And you can approach one Imam to tell you where to find another Imam. Because they are indeed one chain of serenity, one chain of sincerity, one chain of piety, one chain of knowledge, in which these beads are so connected that not one is disconnected from the other. It is indeed what is called silsilatul dhahab, a chain of gold. And hence there is no difference between them, and one is able to approach them and get everything that one requires out of them whenever there is need for them. But one other method, and as I've limited time, I've chosen now to tell you a smaller episode. One other version, one other method, that is one other way of meeting the Imam is doing a more difficult thing. This is why I left it last. But I do want to tell you that episode for another reason also. One of the ways to meet the Imam alayhi salam is to go to Masjid al-Sahla for 40 Tuesday nights. Masjid al-Sahla is an important place. When the Imam alayhi salam will reappear, his headquarters will be Kufa, just as was the headquarters of Hazrat Amir alayhi salam. Kufa, Masjid al-Kufa will be his government house. But his exchequer will be in Masjid al-Sahla. And indeed, in Masjid al-Sahla there is a place, Maqam Imam Zaman alayhi salam. And we go there, and wishes are fulfilled there in that particular maqam too. People who are sick get well, and this happens on a perennial basis. On a daily basis, sick people get well in Masjid al-Sahla. And there is always a huge congregation there on Tuesday evenings. But if someone goes there on a Tuesday evenings and spends 40 Tuesday nights, whole night in prayer in Masjid al-Sahla, the near guarantee is that he will see the Imam alayhi salam. We know many examples of people who have met the Imam alayhi salam because they spent 40 nights in Masjid al-Sahla. There is a similar hadith for Masjid al-Kufa, and there is a similar hadith for the haram of Imam Hussein alayhi salam in Karbala. And I hope that tomorrow night we'll make some time and discuss the hadith about the haram of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. However, this young man, and youthful in his early 20s, decided he had the zeal to meet the Imam alayhi salam. And so he decided that every Tuesday evening he will spend in Masjid Sahla. And so he did. And 39 Tuesday nights he spent in Masjid Sahla. The last one, the weather was not good. The position about this son was that his father was not well, his father was sick. So he would not go out of the house. Every day he would remain in the house. He would look after his father and run the shop. The shop, as is still true in Kufa, you have a shop on the ground floor, and you have living accommodation on the first floor. I'm sure there are houses in Mumbai of that nature. This is how it was. So he was able to look after his father and carry on the business to maintain the family. And it all went well. Tuesday night, he would look after his father, provide everything he needed to provide for his father, but go to Masjid Sahla just before Maghrib and spend the whole night till Fajr in Masjid Sahla. The 40th night comes, there was work to be done, which he finished somehow, but it was raining, it was cloudy, the weather was not good, and he said to himself, all this is shaitan. He is now making me feel the weather is not good, I shouldn't miss the 40th, and all my efforts of the 39 nights are gone. I am not going to let him succeed. And he set out. He was hungry too, but he had no time to eat. Food was not important anymore. He had to get to Masjid Sahla and spend that night there. But as he was walking, and the weather was so bad, and it was so dark, but he knew the way so well, having trod that path so many times. As he was walking, he suddenly saw someone coming from the front, and he was not sure. Suddenly this personality, brilliant personality, stops to talk to him, greets him by his name, and the youth replies the greeting, because replying is wajib. He says, yes, alayka salam ya sayyidi, what can I do for you? And the first question he asked him is, have you got any food? So he says, no, I don't have any food. But the personality says, but you have food with you. He says, no, I have no food. He says, put your hands in your pocket. So he says, I put my hand in my pocket, and I found some peanuts. He says, yes, I have some peanuts. I had bought them for my son, and I forgot to give them to him. So he says, well, you are so hungry, why don't you eat these peanuts? Can you imagine how merciful the Imam is? Can you imagine how caring and sensitive he is? Here is a person who wants to go and get to Masjid Sahla only to get sight of his Imam, but he's hungry. The Imam is worried about his hunger, and the fellow has forgotten about the peanuts, reminds him, why don't you eat these peanuts that are with you? And he says, yes, inshallah, I'll eat them, but I want to rush to Masjid Sahla, because it is my 40th night and I must meet my Imam. And he turns round to him, he says, yes, but let me tell you one thing. I make wasiyah to you, I advise you, in other words, I advise you regarding your father. And then he says, I warn you to look after your father. Thirdly, I admonish you about your father. And so said, he's out of sight. He's not there anymore. And the son knew that was his ziyarah of his Imam. He met his Imam, who showed kindness to him. But the Imam alayhi salam told him, why are you spending time to come and visit me and to see me in Masjid Sahla? Your first duty is to your father. Look after your sick father. And if you want to see me, then it is my admonishment to you, it is my serious advice to you, look after your father. Indeed, he says, then I had no need to go to Masjid Sahla. Turned back to his house. From that day onwards, he stopped going to Masjid Sahla. 24 hours in the service of his father. People, his friends who also went to Masjid Sahla would ask him, we don't see you there in the masjid anymore. Here he told everybody this story, that the Imam alayhi salam has told me, more important than going to Masjid Sahla is to sit and look after my father, and this is what I will do. What a fantastic lesson. The teachings from the Imam alayhi salam come even from the ghaibah. And this was the most fantastic opportunity taken. But what a fantastic teaching. How important must it be in the eyes of Allah that his hujjah tells his people, matters not that you do not visit me in Sahla, look after your father, look after, similar vein, look after your mother, and indeed that is where your salvation lies. Is it possible to put service to parents at any higher pedestal than the way the Imam alayhi salam described? And I thank Allah that this evening has not passed without this opportunity of presenting this particular episode to you. Such is the way in which he teaches these methods, because he knows what is it that will help us in the grave, because nothing can be more helpful than that birr that a son gives to his father or his mother. And indeed also on the day of judgment and in the scales, these are good deeds that weigh heavily in the scales on the day of judgment. Such were the teachings, and such indeed are the teachings of the Imams alayhimus salam all the way through. And it is for this reason, it is only to ensure that our salvation is assured, that Imam Hussein alayhi salam decided that the only way to ensure our salvation is to make that trip to Karbala and make his sacrifices. But he knew too well that those sacrifices are not going to be accomplished only by his giving his life. He knew that it was important that his complete camp should be on his side and make the sacrifices as well. And hence he decided he will take his children with him. He decided he will even take his ladies with him. He will take some of his friends with him. But our salams on that friend of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, who could not be in Kufa and who could not join Imam Hussein alayhi salam at the right time. But when the time came, Imam Hussein alayhi salam wrote a letter to Habib ibn Madahir saying, Ya Habibi, Ya Habib, I am in problems in Karbala. I am surrounded by enemies. A friend in need is a friend in need. This is a time for you to come over to me to help me in the predicament in which I am. We turn to Habib and say that everybody who was in Karbala went along with Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Imam Hussein alayhi salam told them, go away. On the eve of Ashura, he put the candles off and said, I have withdrawn my bay'ah. Go away and save your lives. These people are only after my neck, they are only after my blood. But indeed, with Habib, it was the exact opposite. He was called over. He was called over. Indeed, when weapons were being distributed by the Imam alayhi salam, he picked up a spear and kept aside. And indeed, one of the companions comes to him and says, Jabna Rasulullah, you have kept that spear aside. Why don't you give it to me? It will help me. The Imam alayhi salam says, no, I have kept that for a particular friend of mine. He will come. He will not be armed because he will not be able to leave Kufa with arms on him. I have kept this spear for him. And indeed, that time comes. That time comes when Habib gets into Karbala. When he gets into Karbala, and indeed when the news spreads that Habib has come to Karbala, the first person who is elated by it was Bibi Zainab alayha salam. She turns around and says, I have heard Habib has come. Sends Fizza to her brother and says, Fizza, ask my brother, is this true? Fizza goes and asks Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Imam Hussein alayhi salam says, Fizza, go and tell Zainab it is true. Habib has come. And Habib has come only to help me. When Bibi Zainab alayhi salam hears this, she turns around to Fizza and says, Fizza, go and tell Habib that I salute him, my salams on Habib. Habib turns around to her and says, Ya Allah, what days have come for the Ahlul Bayt that the daughter of Fatima Zahra sends salams on this slave only for him to come to help. Turns to Imam Hussein alayhi salam and says, Ya Hussein, what is me? May my father and mother be sacrificed for you. And that time comes when Habib alayhi salam turns to the Imam alayhi salam and says, I can bear this no more. allow me to go, and this is about midday now, allow me to go. Indeed, Habib was one of the commanders. He was commander on the right wing of Imam Hussein alayhi salam in Karbala. Imam Hussein alayhi salam allows him to go. He goes and battles it out, and when he reaches Shahada, Imam Hussein alayhi salam goes right to his body. Habib says, Mawla, you took the trouble to come to the body of this slave of yours. Imam Hussein alayhi salam says, Habib, do not say that. I took the trouble to call you. How much must my love for you be that I did not want to die without you? Now that you are dying, will I leave you to die without being next to you? Habib, my grandfather now will look after you with water of Kawthar. Your thirst will be quenched. Habib turns around even at that moment and says, Ya Aba Abdullah, I'm not worried about my thirst, whether it's quenched or not. I am worried that you are so thirsty. Imam says, Habib, I have not long to go. I will soon follow you. Habib says, Ya Aba Abdullah, you will soon follow me, but I am worried that for those moments you are alive, you are in so much thirst. ألا لعنة الله على القوم الظالمين وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون رحم الله من يكره الفاتحة.
ساری جنت میں رسول ازلی لکھا ہے. ساری جنت میں رسول ازلی ڈالی ڈالی پہ علی اور ولی لکھا ہے. سبز پتوں پہ حسن اور کلی پر زہرا سرخ پھولوں پہ حسین ابن علی لکھا ہے. ساری جنت میں رسول ازلی لکھا ہے. ڈالی ڈالی پہ علی اور ولی لکھا ہے. سبز پت